I'm really excited about our team, some of whom are here. I'd like to introduce Dr. Eileen Coppola. She was at one point the principal of Hunter High School. She has a PhD from Harvard. She went to Wellesley. She has, you can speak more about yourself if you care to, but I'm trying to say that basically she's helping us with the education of a child. Sometimes someone comes from 9th grade or even earlier, and they are very clear on the direction they want to go, so she helps choose their AP classes or their just elective classes to augment them, and helps with their course selection. And she's a very educated person herself, so it's a great pleasure to have her here with us. And then I would also like to, I have this written down, this is Lorraine Goodman.
Hi.
Lorraine Goodman went to Princeton and has a master's degree in business, or is it, what's it, business?
It's performing arts administration.
Administration and performing arts. She had a master's from Steinhardt program at NYU. And she's also been an actress and a performer, and we use, but primarily she helps write fabulous essays, the Common App essay, and she's a private SAT tutor. We believe that sometimes you need a private tutor. You can do group classes, and your prep schools here are wonderful for that, but occasionally a student really benefits the most with a private SAT person. She gets good results. And then, of course, Virginia Thomas.
Hello.
She comes from the University of California, so she's our West Coast specialist. I know nothing about the West Coast, and she does. She knows all the schools, she knows the programs, their strengths, and when somebody says, I want to go to Pomona versus Berkeley, what's the difference? She's the person. And she also does the interview. I am a big, big fan of the college interview. I think that it helps the student a lot. And so if you make a good impression in your interview, it's really useful. So she helps the student become a little more expressive, a little bit more personal. She's an actress herself. You may have seen her on national commercials on television. So she takes all her training and helps the student be a little more extroverted that we need. Now, people who are not here, but I want to mention them because they really are part of our team. They're committed to making this happen. And one of them is Diane Collins. She is a Yale BA and a master's in history, and she went to Georgetown Law. And she's very helpful for selecting classes for some of the kids who say, I definitely want to become a lawyer. She's helpful in course selection. She's also a very smart woman and just is very helpful with the essays. Because sometimes you get a lot of kids all at once, especially towards the deadline, and suddenly you have all these essays, so she helps with essays as well. And Laura Siegel, she gets great results. I have to tell you, she enabled my son to get a 2380, which was great. You can get 2400, so 2380 in an SAT is great. But then his girlfriend came along, and she got a 2400. And it's really, and so now he's just a little, and 2400 is the best you can get, and Laura really helped make that possible. I have my son's permission to see they really appreciated her help. I have Helene Funk. She's a friend of mine I've known for many years. She just does financial aid, huge packets of financial aid. I don't know if you all know this, but there's FAFSA. There's form after form after form you have to fill out. Many of the new parents, new to this country, feel very frightened by these forms, and Helene helps, sits with them, and just helps with his financial aid packets. I have Peter Bodio. He's my husband, and he's willing to do something. He specializes in theater. He's a general manager of theater in New York City, and he's on the board of a theater camp. And we realize in your community you have a very talented group of musicians and drama, acting and drawing. I mean, you have really artistic people in your community. And we felt that there should be summer program specialists to help them augment their talents in the summer program. So my husband is doing the research for all the best possible art programs. Music we already know, and drama we know, but he's discovering the art programs so that we can offer that kind of expertise as we come along. And finally, I have two men who are willing to give their time, and they've been friends. Both of them I've known for 20 years, Alex Hartnett and Steve Whitehouse. Alex went to Princeton and Columbia, and Stephen went to Harvard and Columbia. They're both incredibly focused leaders in their community. and they do a lot of writing for grants because they own their own businesses. So they write all the time and are always getting grants for their businesses, and they said they would be happy to help, especially anyone who's interested in the business schools. They would help the business schools applicants. I was an interviewer for Yale. In other words, Yale would send me out as an alumni. I would interview the students many years ago, and they always sent, look for kids who are motivated, who are unique in some way, who are intelligent, funny, capable, joyous, well-balanced, smart kids. So I took this information and watched these kids develop from the beginning. When I helped them with their interview, I kept track of them, and now most of them are out of graduate school or PhD schools. But I've tried to sort of keep in touch with them and get a sense of whether the techniques for the interview help them later in life. Because in life you need to be able to present yourself well. And I think that the interview for the college is the first time that you learn to do that. And so I emphasize it. One of the things that's different from our company than I think many others is that every single person in my company is a dear friend of mine. And I trust them. They're honest and conscientious towards me. They will tell me how they feel about a situation, and they are committed to the company. And I say that's different only because some of these friends I've known 30 years, 20 years, 30 years, 5, 10 years, but they're all friends. And I wrote this because I think I want to be able to read it to you. You all can be so proud of the young students here, many of whom I've met over the last year, graduating and becoming the first generation to attend U.S. colleges and universities. It is with great pride that I saw my son go off to Yale last September. I know how much work it takes both by the student and the family to make such an accomplishment possible. Our team consists of caring individuals who plan to give the students here the best possible chance of finishing their long-term goal of a successful college admission. We are not a prep school. We don't offer large prep classes. Each student who uses our service will get one-on-one attention from the people I've introduced to you and mentioned to you. And their application will be edited, reviewed, reconsidered, re-edited as many times as it takes to make a truly outstanding application, one that represents the authentic, unique voice of that individual. And we look forward to a long and happy and hopefully prosperous relationship with your community. Thank you all for coming today.
I began here as a teacher in New York City and did a master's degree at Columbia University in technology and education, and went on to Harvard to do a master's and a doctorate in administration and policy. I was principal at Hunter College High School for 2 years. I was a professor at Rice University for about 10 years. So I've seen the outcome of what a good college students look like, and how focused they are and how they thrive in a good college environment. I also helped start a charter school called Innovate Manhattan Charter School, and so I have a sense of how the students need to be prepared for their academics. They need to have very strong, part of what we're saying here is they need to have a very strong preparation just at the beginning. So the colleges need to see that they're strong in math, they're strong in they need to be strong writers, very strong mathematicians, they need to be good scientists, but on top of it they need to be creative and think outside the box, because it's no longer the case that there's just a formula for getting into college. And so I bring to the team a sense of how to create an academic background that's very strong, but also we look at what the colleges are expecting, because the colleges move in terms of what they want. There's been an emphasis on AP courses, for example. That's still important, but some colleges are shifting that to some things that involve more creativity and some courses that are more outside, let's say, the box than the AP courses. So on the academic side, it's very important to keep that at a high level so that the students are all very obviously qualified to the colleges, and then the colleges pick the one they really think will create that well-rounded student body.
And also, we have a different package and depends the need.
We also want to do some scholarships,
Right.
which we haven't figured out quite how to do. but we want to do scholarships. We really, really want to do. We're trying to figure out, we don't feel it's right to ask for people's income taxes. That's ridiculous. But we are trying to figure out a way to offer our services to those who really need it and don't necessarily have the income for it. So we want to try to figure out how to do that. Okay, I think one of the reasons is that this sounds really terrible, but we're really one-on-one. And a lot of the companies say they're going to be one-on-one, but then they're not. We really spend a lot of time with the students. I mean, I was saying earlier that it may take an hour and a half just to start out to get to know the students. Then we try to match the student with the right college. What we don't do is just say, okay, you've got great SAT scores, so now you have to go to the Ivy Leagues. That's not right. They may go to the Ivy Leagues, but we try to match their interests with the right schools.
Plus, I think we also limit ourselves and how many students we can each take on at any particular time.
Yeah.
Because if you're working with 5 students, you can give, that's more than enough, but you can give each student individual attention. You're working with more than that, it becomes, you forget. You don't know what this student likes and what that student likes. And a lot of the bigger companies are out to make money. And so they'll take on any student and as many students, just pile them on. We don't do that.
And that's why we have so many people. You noticed all those people I listed, some of which are here today. But we have all these people available so that when the business comes, no one person has to be overworked and not give the attention the student deserves.
I don't want the student, I'm sorry, I don't want any student to feel like they are pushed or rushed. I want to find out what makes that student tick. And I can only do that by sitting one-on-one with that student and seeing what lights them up, what they love doing, as well as what their gifts are. Are they outstanding at math? Are they outstanding at engineering, at history? And do they love music? By spending that time with them, then I can know what to recommend, and also I can draw out of that student what is going to shine about them in the interview. Because in an interview, it's so important to see that the person is, how do I put this?
Involved. Present,
the person
engaged.
is present, involved, and engaged. Because the interviewer becomes enthralled and loves what they see. This is what colleges want. They want someone who is actively engaged and involved and interested in life. And that's what we want these students to genuinely show in their interviews and in their essays. Not to just write it down and make a list and put it on, but genuinely show that and feel that and bring it forth in the interview and in the essay. And that takes time, one-on-one time, and that's why it's so important.
For them not to see themselves as a minority. For them not to present themselves or mentally see themselves. They have every right to go. If all those things you mentioned are in the right place, SAT scores, and all of them are in the right place, then a mental shift has to happen. They have to understand that they are just as ready, able, capable of being accepted as the next person. So it's a mental shift.
And I wanted to comment that with the team that we have that has so many different experts, it means that we can get to know the child and what's special. College admissions is so intensely competitive now, and that's why I'm sure you all are here, because everyone knows that. It's so intensely competitive that it's no longer enough to have the SAT scores and the right courses and be a very, very bright child. There's also has to be a specialness that the colleges see about you, so about the student, so that that person shines through as someone who's going to contribute to society in a unique way. And when you talk about the very top colleges in the U.S., that's the field of competition. And so what we know how to do is how to basically make the child an asset, seem like an asset to the university or the college.
They will feel badly if they don't take that child,
Yes.
because they will
Yes.
miss out on
Yes.
somebody who's going to
Yes.
offer their community something.
Right.
That
And
is
it's
why.
no longer
When
just a
I-
matter of the formula, it's a matter of helping the child express himself or herself and bring out what is unique and what is powerful and what they're going to be able to
And
contribute.
they have it. I
When
mean,
I
I've
was-
met these kids. They have it. There's
yeah.
no reason we can't make this work for them. Sorry.
Now, when I was growing up, my mother used to say that the Ivy Leagues wanted well-rounded students. And that worked for me, I guess, when I applied to college. But today, they're not looking for well-rounded students. They're looking for a well-rounded student body, meaning that they're looking for the best oboe player and the best mathematician and the best linguist and the best actress and the best. They want to have that all as
On their
part of their
campus.
community.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that it doesn't help to say I'm good at math and English and violin and whatever. It's better to say I'm a really, really good violinist, or I'm the best one you're going to find, or I'm the best
Well,
mathematician.
And one of the things that was interesting, a friend of mine, her daughter applied to Yale and MIT for languages. So she thought she'd get into Yale. Wouldn't you just think? I mean, all the good
MIT.
SATs, all the good grades and everything. So I'm just saying that she was eligible for both. She gets rejected from Yale, and she goes to MIT for languages, linguistics. And she has a tremendous experience and wonderful. She's now graduated and everything. So she goes to the admissions office and says, I was always confused. Now that I'm graduating, I'd like to know, why did you guys take me? Because I thought MIT wouldn't take me, but I thought Yale would. So because MIT is trying to change its image of just being a math and science school. We're trying to become the school that also has great language graduates. So these schools also have their needs, and we want to help them that way.
Same thing with Princeton. Princeton recently started an initiative to expand their arts programming.
100
Everybody want $101
million just went to
to
Princeton
expand.
for
A
arts.
couple of years ago to expand their arts program, and everyone thinks it thinks arts. They think Yale first, and then maybe Harvard for acting. No one thinks Princeton.
Now they will.
Now they will, and that's part of what they've been trying to attract.
So we don't try to bend the students. We don't try to make the students into something we think the college is looking for. That's all wrong. That's not right. We take the student how they really are and who they really authentically are going to be for the next 4 years in college and onward after that, and then we try to match them with really the right school. It's a little different than saying, oh, well, you need to do this and this and this to get into Princeton. You should have this and this and this to get into Pomona. Well, Williams is like, well, you should do this and this. No. What have you done? Who are you, really? And now we'll find the right place for you. It's really much healthier here. I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed with, first of all, it's bilingual, trilingual. Some of them are Cantonese, Mandarin, and English. Some of them are Korean and Mandarin and English. I mean, it's unbelievable, the language skills. Then they have to be a certain way at home because the grandmother is living there, and there's a certain way of being because you've got the generation of the grandmother. Then they're going off to a high school like Hunter in Manhattan, a 45-minute subway, and they can be completely different, and they know exactly how to be where they are, how to behave in all the right settings. And this is a definite skill. The social skills are already incredibly. But then you find what they've accomplished already, what they are doing. I am so impressed with your community. Your kids are. So to me, we're coming to offer our services to an incredibly accomplished community. It's not. We're the ones that should be grateful. This is one of the things why I recommend early decision and early action. If you really know where you want to go, it helps the college. How do we know that at Stanford they didn't think he had applied to all the others anyway? And so what was their motivator to take them? Because he was definitely going to go to a great school. He ended up at Harvard. It's pretty good. So my point is, if you really want to go one place, make it easy for them and apply early action or early decision.